So today we are going to discuss about the topic called Git. So first let me give you a quick introduction about it, and then I'll show you how to install Git, and then we'll go with the actual topic. So first let's talk about Git. So Git is a kind of version control tool. So in that means in what cases we use Git, in the sense like, for example, if for example, in real time there will be different users. Okay, so these users will try, I mean users in the sense developer here. So in developers generally develop that application, so not a single developer will develop the particular application, right? So there will be multiple developers who's working on a single application. So in real time what they will do is, whatever the requirement that we have, so that requirement they will first make it into pieces. Okay, so and these pieces will be given to each and every developer. So developers will work on that particular piece. In once all the developers done with their code development part, so what we will do, we will include all the developers pieces, and then we compile the code. Finally you will get an output, which the output will be in your application, right? So this is how we are going to develop that application. But here the problem is, so like, if you observe, each and every developers are working individually, right? So developer one, let's assume there are 3 developers, and I have a requirement, and that requirement I made it into 3 pieces, 3 parts. Okay, and each part is hand over to the developer 1, developer 2, and developer 3 respectively. Now after few days, I need to gather those whatever the updated code from developer 1 and developer 2 and developer 3, and then I need to compile it, and then I'll get a final output, right? So unfortunately one of your developer is on leave or something. He is not able to I'm trying to reach him, but I'm not able to connect with him. So in these kind of scenarios, you're going to lose your code, right? At the particular point of time, you're going to lose your code because that developer is not available, right? And if you observe here, each and every developers are working individually, and they are storing their code in their own local space, local workspace, in the sense like laptops, whatever. Okay, so now what I have to do is I need to combine all these 3 developers code. Finally then my actual output is going to create it. So in this kind of scenarios, in order to avoid such kind of situations, so if I ask them, if I give them a shared library or shared place where, once you are done with your code development, please upload your code to so and so location, so that these developers, once after completing of their particular code development part, so they will upload that particular piece of code to that location, so that even though developer is not available, I can retrieve that, I can get that piece of code from that location, right? So this code, the place where we are storing this code, that is nothing but a version control tool here. Okay, so, and there is another advantage of using version control tool. Like, the reason why they are called as version control, in the sense, whatever the code changes that you are doing, like if for example today I make some changes in so and so line, in so and so file and so and so line, so that will be stored as a history. Okay, like for example, there is a word called some ABC, and I replaced with DEF. Okay, so after that change here, ABC got replaced with DEF, right? So it will be saved under history, where it will store the old value as well as a new value. Okay, so old value is ABC and the new value is DEF. Got it? So these two values will be stored in a form of history. So after 1 year also, if you go through your code, so there will be an option called history, where you can see all the history part, like all the changes that you have done to that particular code. So that's how this version control tool will also help you to track all your changes, who not only you, all the developers, including your team members, everyone. So whatever the changes that we are doing with respect to the code, so everything will be under control, under track. Okay, so that's the advantage of using a version control tool. Before I go with the next part, so do you guys have any questions? So if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, fine. So now I'll talk about Git. So actually we have few other version control tools available in the market like Git, SVN, CVS, Git, like that. But why? Sorry, some message I got. Yes, I'm sharing my screen. Are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen actually. Okay, better I'll keep this one. Yeah. Okay. So fine. So why we are using? Why we are mainly focusing on Git? So there are two types of version control tools available. So one is centralized version control tool, and the other one is distributed version control tool. So I'll talk about these two. Okay. So for that, what I will do is I'll open a Paint and let me draw some diagram here. So first, let's talk about centralized version control tool. So in centralized version control tool, there will be a central server. Okay, and let's assume there are three developers. So this is developer one, developer two, and developer three. Okay, so whatever the changes that they are doing, so in order to implement that change or in order to save that particular code, so what they have to do is they need to connect to this central server. Okay, every developer has to connect with this central server, and he has to make changes over here. Okay, so here he has to connect and he has to make any whatever the changes that they have, so they need to make those changes over here. Okay, but whereas in distributed version control tool, so in distributed what it will happen is like you can maintain your own local copy. Okay, for example developer one, so you don't need to upload all the time. So what he can do is he can maintain his local copy in his laptop. Okay, once he feels that okay the code was ready, then he can upload at a time. Okay, so individually the code will be, each and every developers are going to maintain their own local copy. Okay, so once the code update is done, they can upload the code to this location so that other developers can able to see your changes. Okay, is it clear? That's the main reason why, Git is a distributed version control tool, whereas SVN and CVS are centralized version control tool. So the disadvantages of using SVN or CVS is like if you don't have internet connectivity, so you have to wait until you get a proper internet connectivity, because you need to connect with the central server, and whatever the work that you are doing, so you have to do directly on the central server. So until and unless, like while doing your work also, you required an internet connectivity. But whereas here in distributed version control tool, you're going to work on your local machine so that you don't require any internet connectivity. So you can still work on your local machine. Once you feel that okay this code was ready, then at that particular point of time you can connect to internet and you can upload your code changes. Okay, so that's the other advantage what we have with Git. And yeah, and as I told you, so if you're going with Git, so you also need to understand the concept of web-based Git repositories. So there are different web-based Git repositories that are available in the market. So why do we require this? Actually, Git is a kind of software that we are going to install it on your local machine, like on your laptop, on your laptop generally. Okay, but if you want to see your code graphical with graphical user interface, then you have to upload this code with any of the web-based Git repository. Okay, so for example, there are a couple of tools that are available like GitLab, GitHub, Big Bucket. So these are all the web-based Git repositories. So that whatever the code that you are uploading, so this code will be displayed in that location so that other developers can also see your code with graphical user interface. Okay, so that's the other advantage of using Git. But whereas SVN we don't require to integrate with any other tools. Okay, SVN itself is having a graphical user interface, and whatever the changes that you are doing, you're directly doing it on SVN. Okay, but here there will be two softwares, like one is running on your local machine and the other one is running on a different server, right? So once you are done with your changes, then you directly upload it to that GitHub or GitLab, whatever. Got it? So uh, that's the reason why we are using web-based Git repositories. As I told you yesterday, that we are going to deal with um, GitHub, because GitHub is hosted on cloud. We don't need to install GitHub on any of your laptop or any of the server, right? So GitHub is hosted on cloud. So what we have to do is you need to create a GitHub account. Okay, it's very simple. It will hardly take 5 minutes to create. So you just type github.com. Okay, let me show you. So you just type github.com and you just enter that URL. So automatically it is going to ask you for sign in and sign up. So you just click on sign up and it's going to ask you for email ID and few other details. And remember, user ID should be unique. Like if someone is using the same user ID, it won't allow you to use that. Okay, so user ID should be unique, and provide the unique user ID, and then after provide all the required details. You'll get an email for the confirmation. So you just confirm it, automatically your account will be activated. So it will hardly take 5 minutes to activate. Okay, and that's the first thing. And let me show you where you can download Git. So because we need to install Git software on your local machine, right? So that for that, what you have to do is you just type Git in Google. So there is an official website, git-scm.com. Okay, so this is an official website. You just click on this. Okay, so once you click on that, so you can see an option called download for Windows. Based upon your system configuration, it will automatically detect like which OS it is, all these details it will detect, and it will show you the latest release for that particular OS, right? Yeah, so mine is Windows, so it automatically detected, and it is showing you for download for Windows. If I click on this, it will start downloading that package. Okay, I already installed it on my local machine, so but I'll guide you how to install it. Okay, you just click on this, it will download your package, and then once it is done with the download part, you just double click on that part. Okay, that exe file. Okay, it will download an exe file. So once it is done with the download, so just click on that, and it is going to show you a pop-up where it is going to ask you for a lot of options. So you don't need to change any of the option. Okay, you don't need to change any of the options. You can go with a default one. Okay, you can see an options called next, 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 and finally you will find an option called install. So until then you don't need to change anything. Okay, you can go with the default options, and then finally you just click on install. It is going to start install, and it will take hardly 2 minutes to complete the installation. And once the installation is done, so finally you will get an option called finish, and you just click on that, it will close. Okay, the installation process will be done. Okay, so this is how we need to install this is how we need to install Git on your local machine. So you can do it later. Okay, so once you are done with the installation, now I'll show you how to create a repository here. Okay, so first of all, let me show you how to create a repository in GitHub. Okay, so once you are done with your account creation in GitHub, so you can see this kind of page. Okay, on the left side corner you can see an option called new, right? If you click on this, so it will ask you for a repository name, and remember this is your username. I mean, in my case this is my username, and if you have created your account with a different username, so that username will be displayed over here. Okay, and anyway this username will be unique. So if I'm using this username, so you're not supposed to create the same username, so it won't allow you to create it actually. But repository names you can create any name, like existing names also you can use. Okay, so I'll just give as git hyphen 8am. Okay, I'm going to create a new repository with the name called git hyphen 8am. Okay, and if you want to provide any description you can provide, or if you don't want to create, I mean it's an optional. Okay, um, and there are two types of repositories here. So one is public repository and the other one is private repository. So I'll explain what's the difference between public and private. So public in the sense, your code will be visible to everyone, like you guys can also able to see my code. Okay, so after once I create this repository, there will be a url, so using that url you can see my code. Okay, so that means publicly accessible to everyone. And the private in the sense, only you can see, or if you give some permissions to any of the user, only that particular users can able to see. So you are going to restrict your permissions. Okay, so that's the main difference. In real time definitely they'll go with private repositories, but now I just want to show you, so that's the reason I'm going with public. Okay, and yeah, you just click on create repository, so it will automatically create a repository. So now your repository creation was done successfully. Now okay, I have a question guys, like you whatever the changes that you are doing, so those changes generally we are doing it on your personal laptop or your work local laptop, right? But how GitHub will come to know about that, right? So we need some link, we need to create some link between Git and GitHub, right? So whatever the changes that you are doing on Git, so in order to display those changes on GitHub, we need some link between these two, right? So how we are going to create this link? So here you can see a URL, right? So I'm just going to highlight that. You just please look that. So there is some URL, right, which ends with .git. Okay, so this URL plays an important role in connecting or in establishing a link between Git and GitHub. Okay, this 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 link we call it as remote ID. Okay, don't be confused. This URL we call it as remote ID, and using this remote ID we are going to connect, I mean Git is going to connect with GitHub. Okay, is it clear? Now what I will do is I'll just copy this URL. Okay, and once you're done with your changes, like once you're done with your Git installation, so just go to any of the directory. Okay, so I'm currently on my Windows C drive, and I've created a directory called git-code. So what I will do is I'll just right click. Okay, and here once you're done with Git installation, you can see an option called Git bash here. Okay, so just click on that. uh, any questions, by the way? Okay. Um, so once you're done with the Git installation, so you need to open Git Bash in the way I've shown you. So just click on right click, and here you can see an option called Git Bash here. Okay. So I already done. Okay. So now currently I'm on the directory called C drive, and there is another directory called git-code. So one thing I just want to tell you that this is a git bash terminal where you can execute all the Linux based commands as well as Git commands. Okay, so this terminal, on this terminal you can execute Linux commands and Git commands as well. Okay, so first command that we supposed to execute is there is a command called git clone and the remote id. Okay, so if you execute, so I'll show you in the background. um, if you see here, currently this directory is an empty directory, right? So what I will do is I'll just click on enter. So immediately you can see there is a directory, whatever the name that you have given here in GitHub. So with the same name, a new folder got created. Okay, so let me go inside this folder. So it's an empty folder, but there will be a directory, there will be an hidden directory. So in order to see that, so what you have to do is you need to go to view and you just click on hidden items. Okay, then you can see an option called .git. Okay, is it clear now? So this is an hidden directory. Okay, so let me explain what's the difference between a normal directory and a Git directory. So first, let me tell you one thing. See, we generally do changes I mean, if I'm using a laptop, so I'll do a lot of changes in my laptop regularly, but I don't require all those changes. I need only application related code changes, right? So what we are going to do is, um, see, if I make any changes on a separate in a different directory, so I don't want to track it, right? I want only application code needs to be tracked. The other files I don't require. So here there are two different types of directories, like a normal directory. In normal directory, if you make any changes, Git is going Git won't do anything. Okay, Git won't track anything. But if you do any changes on Git directory, okay, so Git directory, how we are going to identify in the sense, so based on this .git hidden folder. So in a particular folder, if you see this .git hidden directory, then that means it's a Git directory. Okay, that indicates it's a Git directory. If you don't have anything related to this, that means it's a normal directory. Okay, so in a normal directory, if you make any changes, Git won't do any tracking there, right? But here, if you are making any changes, okay, in this current directory, so Git is going to track it. Any sort of changes, like if you create a new file, or a delete an existing file, or updating or doing modifications in an existing file, any sort of changes, okay, any sort of changes, Git is going to track it. Got it? Now I'll show you how you're going to track your changes. As I told you, Git is going to track each and every changes, right? So I'll show you how Git is going to track your changes. But before that, I'm going to explain three different stagings in Git. Okay, so let me open Paint again, and let me clear all these things. Okay, so there are three stages that are available in Git. Whenever you are making any changes, whenever you do some updations on your local machine, so that code needs to be follow these three stages in order to reach GitHub. Okay, so those changes are, first one is add. Let me click on. Okay, the first one is add. Next one is commit, and the next one is push. Okay, so these are the three stagings. I'll explain you how these three are going to work. For example, uh, if I do any change, like for example, I'm going to create one file. Okay, some file with name abc something. Okay, so I've created a file with name abc. So as I told you before, whatever the changes that you are doing on a Git folder,
So obviously Git is going to track it. So now Git is going to track that change. So it's showing that okay, ABC file got created. Now what you have to do is, first you need to add that. Okay, so first you need to add that ABC file. So for that we execute a command called git add ABC. So once you add it, what it's going to happen is, whatever the content that we have inside this file called ABC, even though it's an empty file or if you have some content in it, it doesn't matter. So whatever the content that we have and along with the file name, all these details will be updated. Okay, there will be a file called index file. Okay, so index file. Okay, I'll show you where you can find this file. So this ABC related information, like for example, if you have some content in it, so that content will be uploaded to index file. Okay, so in a encrypted format. So encrypted format in the sense it's a non-human readable language. Okay, with different special characters which is going to in an encrypted format, this index file, I mean whatever the changes, I mean whatever the file name that you are adding, so that file information will be updated to index file. Now the next stage is commit. Okay, so commit doesn't bother about how many files you have created in the background. So commit only focus on index file. Okay, so whatever the files that you have updated to index, commit will only consider those files. Okay, so what it will do is commit will gather that information from index file and it will save in a form of commit. Okay, so commit in the sense, so while giving commit you need to give some commit message so that that particular change will be saved under that message. Like if some other developer is going through your code, so he should understand why we are doing this change, so what's the reason behind making this change. So all these things will be saved, okay, in a form of commit message. Okay, and there will be a commit id will be generated, so that commit id will refer to that change. Okay, whenever you want to make any I mean if you want to revert back any changes or something like that, so you need to consider that commit id. Using that commit id you can revert back your changes. Okay, so commit id will be taken as a reference. Okay, the reason why we are using this lengthy process is, like for example, in real time, for example, I have created three files. Okay, now I've shown you only one file, right? So I've created three files, like pqr, and there, let's assume there is another file called def something. Okay, so now I total created three files, but I don't want update all the three files. Okay, I want to update these files individually, like so abc in one commit, pqr in another commit, def as another commit. So I want to update in that way, because the reason of creating, I mean the reason behind creating this abc file is different, might be like for some other task you have created, and for creating pqr the reason might be different, right? So if I place all these three files in one single commit, in every commit you have an option to give only one single commit message, right? But you can't give the entire message for creating abc pqr def in one single commit, right? So that's the reason I'm going to use three commits. I'm going to create three different commits for three different commit messages. Okay, so that's the reason. First I'm going to add only abc file. So now the index file will be updated with abc. Okay, and as I told you before, commit doesn't bother how many files you actually created in the background. So here if you see, I have created three files, but commit doesn't bother about it. So commit always consider that your index file. So any updates are available on your index file, commit automatically take those changes and it is going to save in a form of commit message and commit id will be generated. Okay, and then after you add git, I mean the other file, so git add def. Okay, okay, or pqr something, pqr. Okay, so now your again your index file will be updated with pqr. Okay, and then now your index file will be updated with pqr. And now again go with commit. So commit will now commit will consider this pqr file, and it will save as another commit with another commit message. Okay, and then we go with git add def, the same procedure. Okay, don't be confused. I'll also show you practically, then you'll get a better idea. So before that, if you guys have any sort of questions, yes, let me know. Okay, fine. So now let's talk about the third stage, that is push. So push doesn't bother how many files you have created in the background or how many files that are updated to your index file. It only checks with the commits. Like if there are new commits created, so it will collect all those commits, and push will help you to update your changes, like whatever the commits that you have in your local machine. These commits will be uploaded to GitHub. Okay, so push will help you to uploading your code to GitHub. Okay, so it will upload your code to GitHub. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm very poor at writing these things. Okay, fine. Now let's go with the practical part. I'll show you practically about these three stagings, and also show you where you can find the index file and commit IDs, everything. Okay, so let's go with the practical part. So first let me do one thing. Let me create a new file. Okay, so let me create only one single file, and I'll show you with that. So as you can see here, there are no files available. So either you can click on new, and you can just click on text document to create a new file, or you can also execute a command called touch and file1. So again here, touch is a Linux command. Okay, so in Linux, if you want to create any file, so we use a command called touch. Okay, touch file1. So just click on enter. So if, okay, I've created it in a wrong place, I guess. I've created it over here. I'll just remove this file. Okay, let me go inside this git-atom. So what I will do is I'll use a command called cd. So cd stands for change directory. If you want to change from one directory to the other directory, so we use an option called cd. So cd git-atom. Okay, so just click on enter. So now you're inside your git repository. So the difference, as I told you before, earlier, if you observe, you are in under git code, right? So if you are under git code directory, there is no I mean, it's a normal directory. So that's the reason whatever the changes that you're doing on git code directory, like for example, if I create a file here, so git is not going to track anything. But if I create any file over here, so here git is going to track, because we have a .git directory. Got it? So that's the reason it is indicating by this. So if it is a git directory, so that will be indicated by this. So this indicates a branch name. So branch concepts we'll be discussing later. So at the time I'll explain what is meant by branch and all. Okay, now first let me create a new file here. So I'll use touch command again. So I'll create a file called file1. Okay, so as I told you before, whatever the changes that you are doing in a git repository, git is going to track it. Let's see whether git got I mean, this file1 creation is updated or not. Like what I will do is you can execute a command called git status. Okay, so in order to see the status of the current flow. Okay, so as I told you, so git automatically identified that there is a new file got created. So the list of files that are updated or deleted or newly created, whatever, so by default it is going to show you in a red color format. Okay, so if you see here, it is displaying you in a red color. Right now, before I execute git add command, So I'll show you where you can find the index file. So right now you see, if you go inside this .git, so you don't see any file with name called index, right? So first let me execute a git add command. Automatically index file will be created. I'll show you later. Okay. So first let me do one thing. So let me execute a command called git add file one. Okay, git add file one. I'll just click on enter. Okay, so in the background you can see an index file got created. So let me open this index file and see let's what exactly we have here. So let me click on this. Okay, as I told you before, whatever the changes that we are doing, like with respect to that file one, so along with the file name and the content, everything will be uploaded in a form of encrypted format. Okay, so this is how it is going to upload. So this is not a human readable language, right? So in this format it is going to upload your changes. Okay, now let me also execute git status again. So I'll just click on enter. So now you can see here the difference. Earlier, if you see file one, it is highlighting in red color, but now it got changed to green color. Okay, so that means you are under staging area. That means if you see here diagram, so you already added this file to index file. So currently you are in this particular stage. So that's the reason it is going to show you as, I mean, it is going to show you in green color. Okay, so now let's go with the second command, that is commit. So what I will do is git commit -m. So -m stands for message, and what you have to do is you need to give some message, simple message, file one created. I'm just giving a very simple message, but in real time, in this message section, what you have to do is, what's the reason behind creating this change or making this change. Okay, in general, whatever the requirement that you have, so they will be maintaining that requirement using some tickets, right? So every ticket will have some ticket ID. So you can also use that ticket ID, where you can define it over here. Okay, so in that way also you can we can update. Okay, I'll just simply give git commit -m and the message. So as I told you before, commit will consider only the index file. Okay, it doesn't consider anything in the background. Like you can create n number of files, it doesn't matter. Okay, commit will always check the index file. Okay, whatever the new changes that are updated to index file, all these changes will be saved under one single commit. For example, here in the current scenario, we have uploaded only one file. Okay, that is file one. But in other cases, you may upload 2 to 3 files. Okay, so in that cases, so all these files will be uploaded. I mean, all these files will be considered. Okay, and it will be saved in a single commit. Okay, I'll just click on enter. So your commit got saved. Okay, so if you want to see the commit ID and commit message, so you can execute a command called git log. Okay, you can see here, this is your commit ID. I'm just highlighting that. So it's a combination of alphanumerical value. So this commit ID will be randomly generated. Okay, so this commit ID will be randomly generated by Git itself. Okay, and this is what the commit message that you have given. Okay, now we have successfully done with the second stage. Now let's go with the third stage. Okay, that is push. So before we go with push, okay, let me also check the Git status. So now it is going to show you that nothing to commit. Okay, because file one already committed. So we don't need, I mean, in that case, it is not going to show anything here if I execute git status. Okay, now we'll go with push command. So before we go with push, the first thing what we have to do is we need to configure your remote ID. Okay, so I mean, as we have executed a git clone command, so remote ID will automatically configure. By default, it will automatically configure.
But if I create my local code, and there is another way of doing it, so I'll also explain that in the next session. Okay, so in that case you have to configure your remote ID manually. Okay, so there will be a command. So first let me execute a command called git remote -v, so which will show you the list of remote IDs that are configured with this particular repository. So I mean, see, uh, if I have a letter I need to send to some so and so location, so on that letter I'll mention the address, right, and then I'll post it. So based on that address, that I mean that particular letter will go and reach to that particular destination. But here if I don't mention any address, and if I simply push it, where it will go, right? So that is nothing but a remote ID here. I'll just click on command called git remote -v. So if you observe here, so this is what the URL, right? Okay, so this URL is nothing but your GitHub URL. Okay, so these remote IDs will be configured with alias name. Okay, so here if you observe, this is your remote ID URL, so that is configured with alias name called origin. So when we are pushing it, any code from your local to GitHub, so you don't need to mention this URL all the time. Instead of that, you just simply use this name called origin. Okay, and automatically it will redirect to this URL and it will be pushing your code to that location. Okay, so now let me execute a command called git push. So remote ID origin name is, I mean remote ID alias name is origin, and the branch name. So let's take this master as a branch. So I will be updating, but later on I'll explain what is meant by branches and all. Okay, so I'll just click on enter. So if you are executing this for the first time, it is going to ask you for username and password, but I already configured it. Like once you enter your username and password of GitHub, so your Windows system is going to save that username and password. So automatically it got updated. Okay, now you see my code got updated. Let me go to GitHub and let's see how it is going to display. So what I will do is I'll just reload this page, and you can see here file one. Okay, so this is an empty file actually, so there is nothing inside this. So your file one got updated, right? And you can also see the commit message that I have given there. So file one created is the commit message I have given, right? And if you want to see the commit, like if you want to see the commit ID, so you just click on this commit, and for every commit, as I told you, these are the commit IDs. Okay, is it clear now? Any questions till now? If you have any questions, let me know, guys. We'll discuss about this question and answers, and then we'll continue with the next part. Any questions?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Actually, this is Shiva from Chennai. Actually, just now I joined the meeting, and can you please a quick recap to me so that I can understand what is that process here in that course and everything?
Okay. I think yesterday I've taken a demo session. Maybe you have missed that, but you can get that video from the management. So they're the right person to give you that video. So you can go through that, because see, DevOps is the whole concept which I have explained yesterday is almost 1 hour 30 minutes. So, but I can give you a brief overview. Like, so in DevOps, we generally collaborate two different teams, like the operation team as well as the DevOps team together to work on kind of automation. Okay, So see, ultimately in every project, the main goal is to deliver application, right? So in order to deliver application to client, so in which practice we are following? So generally, if you go with a manual approach, it is going to take a lot of time, and the delivery will also be delayed, right? So if you start using DevOps, so you don't need any manual interactions in between. So everything can be automated so that your application is going to deliver very quickly when compared with the previous flow. Okay,
Oh,
so those kind of
okay.
automations we are doing here using DevOps. So DevOps is not a single tool. DevOps is a kind of a culture or a practice that we are doing it.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That's the reason most of every company and every project nowadays they are having a DevOps culture. Okay, they got
Okay.
habit of using it. That's the reason every project there will be some DevOps.
Okay. It's totally related about the automation, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we'll talk to management and we'll get your recordings of yesterday and I will see those things.
Oh,
After that, is today's
yeah.
not, yeah,
Today's first topic that we are discussing. So about Git.
okay. It's a GIT, right?
Git, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure I will get those recordings and I will see those things. If it is
Yeah.
possible, means if you can you provide today's session of recap. If it is possible, means that will
Yeah,
be
yeah. I
helpful.
mean, you can check with the management. They're the right person to share everything related to.
Yeah, sure, Surya. Yeah, I will talk with them. Thank you, Surya.
Okay. Any other questions? If you have any other questions, please let me know.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Sir, we have created one file. Let us say that the file one, and we have written some code in that, and again we have pushed it to the Git repository. So now, if I write something else at my local machine into that file, so will that be same reflected here in the repository, or we need to
No,
give
no.
again the push and
Any
commit
sort of,
commands?
yeah. I got your question. I'll do it. If you want, I'll make a practical. So any sort of changes that you are doing
Okay,
it on your local machine, so you have to go through these three stagings. Only then that change will be reflected on GitHub. Until and unless
okay,
that change will not be reflected over here.
okay. It's not like
Okay?
a link in the
No,
Linux.
there is no link in that way. So you have to execute
Okay, sir.
uh, three stagings. I'll show you a practical part. So what I will do is
Okay, sir.
what I will do is I'll make some change in this file one. I'll open Notepad. Um, hello world. I'm just giving a change called hello world. Okay, only one line I'm adding, or let's add some random text. Okay, so I added 5 lines total. So I'll just save this file. Okay, and then I'll close it. Now, as I told you, any changes Git will automatically track. So let me execute git status command. So as I said before, so this file one change got identified by Git. Okay. Now we need to execute the same way. So first thing is git add file one. Okay. So it will automatically add to your index file. The next one is git commit -m, and you can give the message as file one modified. Okay, I'll just click on enter, and then git push origin master. So change will be reflected now on GitHub. So let me reload this page, and you can see commit message as file one modified. And if I open this file one, so this is what the content that we have. Okay, I'll do the change again on the same file. Okay, let me open the same file again. So I'll just remove one line, and I'll make it as new change. Okay, I'm giving it as new change, or I'll also remove another line. Change to. Okay, I'll just save this file again. So as I told you, Git will automatically track it. So I'll just execute git status command. So the same thing. So I'll add and I'll commit. I'll just give as modified again. Okay, I'll just click on enter and then I'll push it. Okay, so now let me go back, and now you can see here file1 modified again, and if I open this file1, you can see the new changes, new change and change to. These two got updated, and if you want to see that, okay, so you can just click on this, and if you click on this commit message, so it will show you what's the previous change and what's the new change. Like previously it's used to be like ksjvp, and it got replaced with this. Okay, so git is going to track each and every line individually. Okay, like if you make changes in line number 2, git is going to save only that line information. It's not going to save the entire file. So because of that reason, the storage we can reduce it. Like we don't, for example, if I have 1 MB file, okay, and I made only one single line change, so it's not going to save that entire 1 MB as a history. Only that line information, it can be 1 KB or 2 KB. So that line information it's going to save. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Is your question
And
clear?
suppose, yes, sir, I have a one more doubt actually here.
Yeah.
And we have already added the file into the Git, no? But then why again we are going to add it for the next time when we modified the file? So I got
See,
this doubt
sort of
actually.
any sort of change that you are doing, it can be modification, it can be a new file creation or existing file deletion, any sort of change. So you have to add it, you have to commit it, and then only you can able to push it.
Okay, okay.
Okay, any change.
Okay, so the okay for file, if we have deleted the file in the local machine, then we can get it from here, right? So it will be available.
It
There
will
will
be
be no
available.
defect to this file.
No, it will be available until and unless you execute add, commit, and push. So once you execute add,
Oh,
commit, and push, that file deletion will also be saved as a change.
okay.
Okay, so a file deletion will also be saved as a change, and immediately the same file will be removed from this repository, from this GitHub. Okay, but in
Oh,
history you can find that file. In history you can find the content of that file.
okay, okay. Okay, sir. That's it.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any questions? Any other questions? Okay, so we'll do one thing, like let's stop here for today's session. Tomorrow I'll go with I'll show you how to make these commits with multiple files. Like here in this scenario I've shown you only one single file. Like tomorrow I'm going to create multiple files, and I'm going to show you how these multiple files are going to upload it using these 3 stagings. Okay, that's the first thing. And then we'll talk about git branching. Okay, so what is meant by branch and other important things related to branch. And then there are few other concepts like merge, cherry pick, and tags. All these concepts we are going to cover. So maybe 2 to 3 sessions will be on git. Okay, hereafter, like, and then after we'll go with the next part. Okay.
Hey, sir, I'm thinking about joining this course. What day is this today?
Sorry.
I'm thinking about joining the course. Did
Okay.
I miss? What did I miss?
So you only missed the demos part. Okay, this is the first session actually.
Okay, this is the second session.
Actually, demo is different. So in demo, we don't explain any of the tool. Like I just give you the overview of DevOps and other things. Okay, what exactly we are going to do with respect to DevOps. So that information I'm going to give. But technically, I'm not going to share any knowledge on demo session. So this is the first technical session.
Oh, this is the first technical session.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Okay, cool. Then let's wind up this call for today.
Hi Surya, can you
Yeah.
create a GitHub for me? It's not creating.
Okay. I'll give you a presenter access. Can you please share your screen?
Okay.
By the way, what's your name?
Nalini.
Okay. Okay. I'm giving you a presenter access. You can share your screen.
Okay.
Let's create it. So guys, you can also observe how to create a GitHub account. Yeah. So here you have to give your email ID.
It is saying that the email is invalid or already taken.
Then you try giving a different email ID.
I'm having only one email ID.
So actually maybe you have already created this account earlier, or I'm not sure about it, but you can create another Gmail ID, and using that you can create your GitHub account.
Okay. I need to create now.
We'll do one thing then. So again, I mean, creation of email and that and all, it's gonna take some time. Na? We'll do one thing.
Yeah.
So today you create your GitHub, Gmail ID.
Okay.
Okay. Tomorrow morning, beginning of the session, you just remind me, so that using that ID, I'll show you how to create a GitHub account.
Okay.
Okay. Will that fine?
Okay. It's fine. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thanks for joining. Have a nice day. Bye bye.